Greetings. I'm going to give you a little tour of the Richmond area Ntrak club room. We just wrapped up a little work session tonight here on Friday night, and you can see our board. This is where we make suggestions about some of the scenes and ideas that we want to see on our layout. And as you can tell probably from our videos in the past, a lot of sawdust and a lot of things taking shape. This is our digital command control layout, and you can see that we've already laid the mainline cork road bed, so we're off to a great start. But I want to show you what we're doing on the analog layout, so let's take a look over there real quick. Okay, so we're on the other side of our club room, and we're now looking at the analog layout, and we chose to do two layouts, a digital and analog, because the analog gives us the opportunity to run some of our older equipment and run it with a little bit less emphasis on operations. So as the club is putting together the ideas for this layout, there's probably half a dozen or so members that are contributing ideas and have already begun to do things such as set buildings and actually make our streets. Obviously the track is already laid, and we've been running track successfully here for several weeks, several open houses now. So we're feeling pretty confident about that. But every layout has a story, and so I'm going to tell you my version of a story so you get an idea of how we might put a layout together. Every good railroad story, in my opinion, is a story of the people who live on the nice side of the tracks, the good side of the tracks, the rich side of the tracks, and the folks who live on the wrong side of the tracks, or maybe the not so wealthy side of the tracks. And what we have with this layout are two villages on either side of some nice rolling hills, might say mountains, probably set in Virginia, West Virginia somewhere, maybe in the hills and in the valleys just off of Interstate 64 if you've ever had a chance to travel there. And so in my view, and I'm going to give you my picture here, we have the good side of the tracks. We have nice paved streets, a nice passenger station, and we've got some nicer houses on this side of the tracks, some very nice red brick buildings forming a nice downtown. We've, as a club, already laid this scene out a couple of times, and I can assure you this particular alignment is not what we're going to settle on, but you can see nicer buildings, brick buildings. So the folks on this side of the tracks rarely have need to go over to the other side of the tracks over there, but that's where we're going to go next, and I'm going to show you what I laid out tonight, and we'll see how the layout ultimately looks once other members of our club's ideas have weighed in. So let's go take a look over at the other side. So if you're going to travel from the good side of the tracks to the bad side of the tracks, you're going to go through the mountain and come out the tunnel across a nice wooden trestle bridge. And then eventually you're going to follow a road if you're not on the train, and you're going to cross a bridge. And the bridge is going to take you into this little village, which I think was probably formed from a couple of businesses, some legit, some not so legit. For example, we might have a distillery there in the background, making up some of the mama's favorite shine, needing some grain and some water and other types of things to make a really good beverage that you can only serve to your closest friends. And then you might also have a building that processes maple syrup. A lot of the foothills, particularly Highland County, Virginia, they gather maple and maple sap, and then they process that and turn that into maple syrup. And I think this would be a good town for some employees to be processing that maple syrup in this building and then moving it into storage containers and then shipping off to the supermarkets some grade A, B, and C maple syrup. Now we're looking at the back side of that distillery. There's our grain silo. Now as you're rolling through this town, you need to stop if you're hungry and get yourself a burger. Oops, sorry about that. And I can't think of a better space to get your burgers than at the traditional hamburger joint. And if you need to get gas while you're in town, well, good golly, there's a little gas station to meet your needs. And if you need to pick up some milk on the way home, stop at the general store as well, where everything you need can be had there. And we've got a couple of other nice little industries as well in this town. And not everybody from this town lives here or is from here. They might be more transient, in which case they're staying at the Rooms for Let building, right between the syrup processing facility and the general store. And also we have perhaps the Union Hall and a craft barn, possibly doubling as a public school facility in this little town. So anyway, these are just some of my ideas about the possible layout of the bad side of the tracks. Doesn't look so bad, but this is how we go about laying out or designing a layout. We come up with a story and see if we can sell that story to other people. And if we like it, this is what we'll ultimately see. So why don't you comment down below and give us your ideas about what you'd like to see on our layout, and we'll see what we end up featuring. Thanks, and have a great night.